Hi everyone and welcome to my channel English Fluency Lab, where I help you improve your English language skills. Friends, in this video, I'm going to talk to you about 9 phrases that cause misunderstandings in cross-cultural communication. Now friends, this video will be very helpful for people working in the IT sector or in a sector where your clients are spread across the globe. Countries like maybe UK, US, Netherlands, Germany, Europe and so on. Right? So let's get started right away. So first of all, I would like to begin with what is cross-cultural communication and why is it so important in a professional setting, and especially, as I said, if your clients are spread across the globe. So friends, cross-cultural communication is notoriously, which means famously but in a negative way, tricky and subtle. Misunderstandings can arise from seemingly simple expressions like I'm okay or yes, which means that a particular phrase may mean one thing in, let's say, India, but it may mean exactly the opposite in some other country. So you have to be very, very careful in using these phrases because some of them may be very offensive also, right? So I hope you get the gist as to why cross-cultural communication is important. So in this video, we will examine 9 common phrases and how their interpretations vary, across cultures. So are you ready to get started? Let's go. So the first phrase is I'm okay, right? Now this is a fairly simple phrase. And, I'm sure you're using it in your daily Zoom calls or Google Meet calls and your daily conversation with clients. But what is the thing you need to be careful about? Now, in many European countries, I'm okay is used as a polite and friendly response to how are you, right? In the US, this phrase often shows disengagement and lack of enthusiasm, right? Let's compare how this phrase may be perceived or understood in different cultural contexts. Right? Let's take different cultural contexts out here. In Europe, if the question is, hey, how are you this morning? The answer could be, I'm okay. I'm actually doing well. So in Europe, this could mean I'm actually doing well, right? So that's exactly what it's meant for. However, in the US, if the question is the same question, hey, how are you this morning? And somebody says, I'm okay. Now that could mean I'm not doing too well, but don't want to talk about it. Right? So you see the difference in the meaning between I'm okay in the US and I'm okay in Europe, right? So this is what you need to be careful in cross-cultural communication. Now, what is the takeaway in this? Now, avoid using I'm okay as a response to how's it going or how are you. Instead, use phrases that convey enthusiasm, such as pretty good or I'm doing great, right? And of course, your tone should be, filled with enthusiasm. Okay, because you should say pretty good or I'm doing great, etc. Right? So especially when you're dealing with clients in the US, try using these phrases instead of saying I'm okay. Another tip. In the US, it is common to use I'm okay to politely decline help. For example, let's say the question is, do you want Lucy to help you? The answer could be, no, I'm okay. Just need a few days to get everything ready. Right? So the person says that, no, thank you. I don't need the help. I'll manage it myself. So that's also one thing you need to be careful about in the American culture, that I'm okay means to politely decline help. Right? So that was phrase number 1, I'm okay. Let's move on to phrase number 2. I'm not sure. Right? Let's understand this better. In most European and Asian countries, I'm not sure literally means what it says. I'm not certain or I need more time. Okay, so that's exactly what it means. In the US, this phrase can also be a polite way of disagreeing or expressing hesitation. Right? It's different in European culture, it's different in the US. It can indicate that someone isn't on board with, doesn't agree with an idea, but doesn't want to confront the issue directly. Right? So do you look at the difference out here? In the US, if somebody says that I'm not sure, which means that he's not on board with the idea, but he doesn't want to confront the issue directly, right? He's not directly saying that he disagrees. So that is what you need to be careful about when somebody in the US says, I am not sure. Compare Europe. Question. This feature should be enough to solve the issue, right? Okay, that's a question. Let's say that's a question asked in Europe. Answer, I'm not sure, which means I need more time and information to decide. I'm not certain right now, right? That could be the meaning in the European culture, right? However, in the US, let's take the same question. This feature should be enough to solve this issue, right? Answer, I'm not sure. I don't think so, which could mean I don't think so, I disagree. Now, again, he's not saying it directly, but that's what it could mean, and that is what you need to be careful about. Takeaway, don't take the phrase I'm not sure too literally. For example, if your American client says I'm not sure about this, ask them follow-up questions instead of assuming they need more time to give you a real answer. Right? So that is what you need to be careful with. I am not sure in the American culture. Right? All right, let's move on to number 3. Yes. Okay. Now what could be wrong with this word yes, right? It's a simple word where you are agreeing to something. However, there is a difference. This simple phrase has proven to be a common stumbling block in cross-cultural relationships. While in direct cultures such as the US or the Netherlands, yes is a straightforward confirmation of agreement or understanding. What do you mean by direct cultures? Direct cultures are those countries where people talk to you directly. They tell you directly that a spade is a spade. However, there are some cultures where people shy away from saying no, right? In many Asian countries such as India, the word yes may be laced with or could be full of nuances, right? Or it could have a slightly different meaning when somebody in India says yes, right? Now that is what you need to be careful about. For example, in the Netherlands, question, can we complete this by Friday? Yes, no problem. Now what does it mean? Yes literally means what it says, that it is a commitment to complete something by the agreed time, right? That is what it means in the Netherlands. It's a direct culture. However, in India, can we complete this by Friday? Yes. What it actually means is we actually can't, but I don't want to seem unprofessional or get into a disagreement. Now, this is a problem. I have worked in the BPO industry for almost about 10 years. This is a problem with Indians. We are not able to say no, or we are not able to disagree in a very polite manner. We may say yes, but we actually mean no, but we don't want to get into a disagreement. We respect the client so much, right? Takeaway. Ask clarifying questions to give you an understanding if someone actually means yes when they say it. Now we are talking about the Indian culture out here. For example, let's say you're working in an IT company, and if you are leading a tech team, you may ask your developers, so how are you going to solve this problem? Give me an approximate step-by-step plan you have in mind. How long will each step take you? Right? So now this is for people on the other side. If Americans or people from European countries are dealing with Indians and Indians say a yes, well, you need to be a little careful out here and probe whether they actually mean a yes. All right. Let us move on. Okay. Point number 4, nothing special. Right? Let's find out about nothing special. If somebody says nothing special. Now this phrase often causes miscommunication in Eastern European versus American relationships. Right? Let's understand this better. In Eastern Europe, nothing special means something that's all right or just regular. Let me repeat that. Nothing special means something that's all right or just regular. Okay? There's nothing great about it. Okay? It's just all right. On the other hand, in the US, this phrase may come off as standoffish. What does that mean? Unfriendly or even offensive. Right? Nothing special. Okay? Let's understand this further. For example, in Eastern Europe, if the question is, so how was the conference? It was nothing special. Right? Which means it was all right, just not mind-blowing. Right? Let's understand in the US. So how was the conference? It was nothing special. It was a waste of time. See the difference in the meanings between the US culture and the European culture, right? So if somebody says that it's not, your US client says nothing special, well, get the hint that he has not liked it. All right. Takeaway. As a general rule of thumb, use positive language when communicating with North Americans. For instance, when describing something that's good but not awesome, say it's all right, it's pretty good, or it's decent. Right? So I hope you understand the meaning of the word nothing special and its cultural difference. Let's move on. You should, right? You should. Now what's the problem with this? While in certain European countries, you should do XYZ, if you complete the sentence, do XYZ, describes a simple neutral suggestion. In the US and Asian countries, it may be seen as a bit too direct and rude. Right? Let's understand how. In Europe, You should fix this bug as soon as possible. Just a simple request, nothing offensive about it. In the US, you should fix this bug as soon as possible. Sounds a little too bossy and negative, right? So here using you should in European countries is pretty okay. In the US, using you should sounds bossy and negative, right? Takeaway, phrase your requests as questions or use the phrase make sure when giving specific instructions. For example, can we fix this by the end of the day? Right? And look at the tone of your voice. Can we fix this by the end of the day? Your tone is with can, it's kind of slightly down and it goes up, right? Or make sure you've updated the settings. That should be make sure. I'm sorry about that spelling error out there. Make sure you've updated the settings, right? So you can use this as the takeaway in this. All right, let us move on to point number 6. I don't care, it doesn't matter. Could have a different connotation in different cultures. This phrase can also come up as dismissive or disrespectful in cultures like the US and France, for example, right? Let's understand. Eastern Europe, should we schedule the launch for October 1st or October 2nd? Okay, simple question. Answer, it doesn't matter, which means that I'm fine with either option. Okay, so that's what it means in Eastern Europe. In the US, the same question. Should we reschedule the launch for October 1 or October 2nd? Answer, it doesn't matter. Sounds like you're not at all interested. You see the difference? If he says it doesn't matter, he's not interested, right? Whether it's first or second, right? Takeaway, consider using other phrases to say that you have no preference, right? You can use the same thing as, should we use a different font or keep the same one? Either option is fine with me, right? I'm fine with either. I don't have a preference, right? So you're very politely, rather than saying it doesn't matter, you're using these polite phrases which convey the same information, right? Let's move on. Number 7, please don't, right? Now what could be wrong with this? This phrase might be seen as too direct and confrontational in many cultures because it uses a directive language. What does directive language mean? A very bossy kind of a language. Takeaway, avoid directive language, especially when communicating with Asian and North American cultures. You need to be careful with the Asian cultures out here, right? So many times I have worked in a corporate for about 18 years and when somebody even if my boss had said, please don't, I've kind of felt a little offended, right? Instead, use fixed polite constructions such as consider doing something, it's best to avoid, or could you refrain from doing something? So instead of please don't, try and use these particular phrases, okay? These polite phrases. Number 8, do you understand? Right? Now with this, you need to be careful, friends. This phrase could be seen as confrontational or questioning someone's ability to follow, especially North American and Asian cultures. Again, friends, I'm sorry for the spelling mistake out there, right? For example, asking do you understand during a client meeting might make the client feel uncomfortable as it suggests you are questioning the client's intelligence, right? I mean, and this can be very offensive. If you ask somebody, hey, do you understand? Which means that you're questioning his intelligence, that, don't you understand such simple stuff, right? And that can be very, very offensive. You need to be careful with that. Takeaway, use other phrases to check understanding. For example, do you have any questions at this point of time? Is everything clear so far? Does this matter? Does this make sense? Right? So instead of saying, do you understand? You can use much more polite phrases like these 3. Right? Tip, for the same reason, avoid the phrase, is it clear? Right? It is likely to come off as rude and a bit too direct. Right? So avoid the phrase, is it clear? Or do you understand? Both of them are very offensive. All right. So we have come to the last one, number 9, and that is, that's interesting. Now I'm sure you must have heard these 2 words before, and the tone always is, oh, that's interesting. So what could be the problem with this? Now when English speakers say that's interesting, they may in fact be expressing hesitation and skepticism. Okay, so that's where you need to be careful. In the US, the phrase that's interesting could be used as a neutral or polite way to react with fully endorsing the idea, right? For example, I think we should explore a new framework. That's a suggestion somebody's giving in your company. And if somebody says that's interesting, right, they actually mean let's think about it, but no promises, right? So they're not committing. That's what it could mean in the US, right? In the UK, the phrase that's interesting can even imply skepticism, right? You need to be careful in the United Kingdom. For example, we implemented this new feature in just 2 days. Okay, so that's a statement you make in a call with one of your UK clients. And the client says, that's interesting, which means I doubt that what you're saying is valid or true, right? So the takeaway in this is when trying to express enthusiasm about something interesting, opt for other phrases such as that's fascinating, or I'd love to know more, or I'm very intrigued, right? So instead of you saying that's interesting, right, you could use these particular phrases, right? So friends, with that we have come to the end of this video. I hope you have found value. Now these are just some of the phrases in cross-cultural communication which can create a misunderstanding. If you want to know more phrases which can cause misunderstanding, well, please put your comments in the video, and I'll be more than happy to make another video for you. If you have liked my video, please give me a like. Please subscribe to my channel, and please do press the bell because I keep coming up with videos like these for your professional success. Thank you, and I will see you in the next one.